Hello there everybody, and today I'm going to review another great phone that you can definitely buy on a budget, and it's the Samsung Galaxy J7 Pro. This phone is really just one of the good options in this price range, along with some Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo, and maybe some Huawei phones out there. But today I'm going to talk about the features that make this phone better than some of its rivals. But before we begin, be sure to subscribe and click the bell so that you won't miss another video. Alright, so first let's talk about the Galaxy J7 Pro. This phone is easily one of the best affordable smartphones out there because it offers you great specs, but because of that there are always some drawbacks and cost cutting that Samsung had to make. For example, there is no IP rating, meaning that it is not officially splash proof or waterproof, and they also decided to make a design that has, in my opinion, pretty big top and bottom bezels for a 2017 phone. But I don't really think that's a problem for most of you though, because the specs are really in the highest level of budget smartphones. The price when you buy this phone brand new ranges from about $160 to $320, and my dad bought the secondhand phone in December of last year for my mom for I think only about $100 or 5,000 pesos if you convert it. It may be a little more than that, but you get the idea. It's that affordable. So next, let's go over the exterior of this phone. It is made out of aluminum, which makes it a bit on the heavier side at 181 grams. That's mostly because the battery is a huge 3600 mAh cell, which I know isn't at all a big number, but for phones at this price, some other batteries out there are just really small and terrible. Personally like this matte black color, and for this phone, you can also buy it in blue, pink, and gold. So overall, I think it's pretty good. Also, very durable because of the aluminum build. And if you hold the phone for yourself, you probably wouldn't guess that it's $160 because it doesn't really feel cheap. There's no camera bump, so it will stay perfectly flat on a table. There's also a fingerprint scanner, and for most people here, you would think that the sensor is at the back, but no, the phone has it integrated into the home button, like other Samsung phones in previous eras and also iPhones back then. It's okay, it's pretty quick. Not the fastest obviously, but definitely not the slowest. Overall, it's better than most of its competition. But for me, I think the number one fingerprint scanner right now on a budget phone is definitely on Xiaomi phones. I have a video on the Redmi 5 if you want to check it out. Link is in the card right here at the top right of the screen. Alright, so now let's go to the buttons of this phone. Like any other older Samsung phones, you have the power button on the right side and two separate buttons for your volume controls on the left side. They're okay, they're very clicky and responsive, and I've never had any problems with them. For storage, in this version you have a huge 64GB internal storage along with 3GB of RAM, and if I were to choose between the 32GB or 64GB version, because yes, you have the option to get the smaller storage, I would definitely go for the higher 64GB version, because anyway you're not really adding that much money to purchase it, same with other phones such as the Redmi 5. And if you want, you can also expand that storage because it has a dedicated slot that you can access using the SIM ejector tool. The speaker is good, and it's located in an unusual place because most phones would have it at the back or at the bottom, but on the Galaxy J7 Pro, it's actually on the right side of the phone, which is just above the power button. For me, that's not really a problem because if it's actually in landscape mode, the sound is facing up instead of facing the side, like for example the Redmi 5, which has it at the bottom. It gets pretty loud, so it's good for podcasts and music if it's a little far from you. Now let's talk about the battery life of this phone. As I said, the capacity is 3600 mAh, and while that may not be the highest number because of the One UI software that Samsung has really optimized for good performance, the battery life is great. This phone is currently rocking One UI 1.1 on Android 9 Pie, and unfortunately Android 9 is the last update for this phone, but at least it's better than older versions obviously. I use this phone for recording Absolute Racing, video recording, maybe some video and photo editing, and once I'm done, I'm still at maybe 50 to 60%. I also asked my mom about the performance of its battery, and she told me that she gets around 6 to 7 hours, which is definitely better than you might expect, especially from a phone that has a high resolution display. Talking about that great display, it is a 5.5 inch 1080 by 1920 Super AMOLED panel, and in person it's really good. It gets pretty bright for outdoor usage. Definitely the best screen I've ever seen on a budget phone in my life. The detail is great, saturation and color are great too. Other phones in this price range would just go for a regular HD LCD panel that's just fine. Here, you get an amazing screen for what you pay for. And as I said earlier, it's running Samsung's One UI on Android 9 Pie. And there are some interesting features here that Samsung has provided. For example, when you access the notification shade, you can actually turn on night mode, which can save your eyes and your battery because this is, after all, an AMOLED display. This is a feature that a lot of other phones, even some mid-range ones, don't have, so it's really good. You also have a one-handed mode. Just swipe up diagonally from either bottom corner, and then the interface becomes smaller. Another feature I really like here is the game launcher. It basically boosts any game's performance, and you can also temporarily disable the back and recent buttons, and also the pop-up notifications, so that your ultimate gaming experience won't be interrupted. It also has this really cool feature where you can access apps in a picture-in-picture window, and it surprisingly works pretty smoothly. Just tap on the Game Tools button, then tap on an app, and it'll open. I suggest that you can use this for when you're looking for a solution, if you're stuck at some point of a game, or when you're waiting for your friends to join you. And now let's go over the cameras of this device. The rear is a 13 megapixel sensor with an aperture of f1.7, and it can shoot videos up to 1080p at 30 fps. Out of all the budget smartphones that I've used, the cameras of this phone are really great. I've seen a few phones that are a little bit more expensive than the J7 Pro, but this phone just beats them. The dynamic range is amazing, it has a great amount of detail, the saturation is also great, and for videos the autofocus is very quick. And if you didn't know, all of my videos on BlueCJ Tech except for this one were actually filmed using this phone. And right now I'm using my Redmi 5 to record this video, and it's a huge difference. In the camera app you also have the basic features like exposure, ISO, color filters, resolution, and white balance. Not much features, but you do have to remember that this phone is not a flagship and it costs $160. The chipset is an Exynos 7870 Octa. The CPU is an octa-core 1.6 GHz Cortex A53, and the GPU is a Mali T830 MP1. For gaming, this phone will handle just about any medium to large size games like PUBG Mobile, Call of Duty, and Asuda Racing pretty well, although you may get some FPS drops from time to time when multiple apps are open. And so that's the Samsung Galaxy J7 Pro. You have a good design, and most people like me that like great budget phones don't really care much about shiny glass backs or bezel-less displays, but at least it's very durable. You have good battery life, a great display, great performance, and a great camera. Overall, this is a phone that I really recommend to you guys who probably don't care much about the look of phones and just want great specs for a very affordable price. That's all. Let me know what you think about the Samsung Galaxy J7 Pro in the comments. Please leave a like, share, and subscribe for more budget tech videos. I'll try to get my first 100 subscribers on this channel. Stay blessed, my friends. Goodbye.